Which of these shapes are prisms? Now, how do we know that we've got a prism? Let's have a look at this. Here, if we cut the shape from top to bottom and we cut it here. Okay, let's say there's a straight line there, and then we're going to have this one here, and this, and this. Okay, here, if we cut it here, that means we're going to have a circle here. Okay, that's at the top here. Okay, then we'll cut this one out. Okay, here, if we cut from top to bottom, that means you're going to have something like this. Okay, here, if we cut it here, and this, if we cut it here, so in all the shapes we will see that we're trying to cut them into two parts. Now here we will notice that after the cut we've got this shape here, and it seems to be consistent to the other shape directly in front and also behind. So we can use a red here because see that it's consistent to this. So that is what makes it a prism. So this cube here is a prism, but this one is not a prism. Why? If we look at this bottom part here and this bottom part here, let's use a red. You can see that the one at the bottom in red is bigger than this one here. So because it's bigger, it's not the same size. So that means if we cut it here again, it's going to go smaller, and that confirms that this is not a prism. In a prism, it must be of the same size. The side here must be the same with the one here. So let's just rub this off. Okay, and then we'll proceed here. So here we could also observe that this side here is the same, where well, the front one here is actually the same, and the one behind here, they have the same size, exactly the same size. It now makes this one a prism. So there's a prism and there's a prism. This is not a prism. Here in this case, this cannot be called a prism because the size here is, you'll see that this one here will be smaller to this part here. It's going to be small in size. And if you make another one, you cut it at this point here, it's going to be quite smaller. So no matter where you cut it, it gets smaller as it goes up. But in this particular case, it doesn't. It just remains the same. It remains constant. And here it remains constant, and we have got it here. It's constant. That's what makes it a prism. If it's not constant, if it's not exactly the same size, then we will be forced not to call it a prism. So this is not a prism, this is a prism, this is not a prism, and here we can see that this one is a prism. So let's just shade it first, and then we can also add another one, and you can see that they are all the same size. And then we have the one in front there, and we have the one behind there. So we can conclude that this one here is a prism. So we've got how many prisms? We've got 1, 2, and 3. Beautiful.